Okay, in this video, we are going to look at doing one variable statistics on the TI-84 calculator, essentially calculating mean, median, standard deviation, things like that. So we have a page from our textbook here up on the screen, and you can see the data table, the data in table 1, representing the scores of 10 students on an introductory statistics test. All right, so the first thing we need to do is to get this data into the calculator. So you'll see right here, you have a button that says Stat. So I'm going to press that. And then I come up with some options. I can edit Calc, which is calculate, tests, which are statistical tests. We'll get to that later. For right now, we need to edit. So I'm going to press Enter on Edit, and you'll see a couple of lists come up. Now for all of the one variable statistics, anything we're going to do with that, the default list is L1. So you're going to want to enter your data into L1. All right, so we have 10 scores here. So the way you enter data is very simple. You just type the number and hit enter, and you'll see that it appears there in the list. If I can stop moving my calculator around. All right, so I'm going to do that for each of the values. Let's see, 62, 68, 74, 84, 94, and 88. Okay, now I should have 10 values in there, and yes, it's sitting on L11 as an empty space, so that means I have 10 values in. So in order for me to do the calculations, I have to exit out of the stat editor. So you do that by hitting second, and right above mode here you'll see quit. So second mode will always quit you out to the home screen no matter what you're doing. All right, so I want to go back into stat, and this time I want to calculate. All right, so when you pull up the calc menu again, you see a whole bunch of stuff there that you can do. All we're interested in right now is one variable statistics. All right, so if I enter that, I get that pop up on the screen. Now, depending on how old or new your calculator ROM is, you may get this up on the home screen, or you may get a menu. All right, so this is an older TI-84 calculator, so I just get this command up on the home screen. Now, if that's what you get, the default list is L1 if you don't add anything onto the command. All right, so you can just hit enter at this point, which I'll do in a minute. If you have a newer calculator ROM and you get a menu, what you're going to see is under list, you'll see L1 or L2 or L3 or whatever. The default should be L1. If it's not, you can change it. All right, but since we're here, I'm just going to hit enter. And then you'll see here that I get a bunch of calculations up. So if we go from top to bottom here, we start with right at the top here, the mean. Right, the mean is 79, and we did this problem in class, and that's what we got. It also gives you a couple of summations, the sum of x and the sum of x squared, which can be useful, but for right now, not. We get the SX, which is the sample standard deviation. You get sigma x, which is the population standard deviation. Now remember, there's a difference in those two calculations. And since the calculator doesn't know which one you want, it gives you both. So you need to know which one you want. All right. I think in this case, we're considering this a sample, or at least that's what I did in class. So we'd be interested in SX, which is 10.35 rounded off. All right. And then you'll see the sample size. Next to that, you see a down arrow. That means there's more information below. So if I keep going down, you get the minimum test grade, which was a 62. We're going to not worry about what Q1 means right now. The median, 79.5, we also calculated that in class. Again, not going to worry about Q3, and then the maximum highest test score was a 94. All right, so you can get all that information just by entering the data into the calculator without having to do any calculations by hand. Now, if you're going to want to do more than one of these problems, which I'm assuming you're going to need to do more than one of these problems, you're going to need to be able to go in and clear the lists. So I can hit clear. That'll clear my screen. Not necessary, but just so you know. I go back into stat, and I go back into edit. Now I've got a bunch of numbers in L1 and I want to clear L1 out. So the way I do that is this up arrow here, highlight L1, hit clear, hit enter, and you're back to a blank screen where you can start again. All right, that's it. I'm going to exit out of that, back to my home screen, and we're done.